your acquaintance, Wing Campbell.
定喺度啊，定所謂橫。
啊，佢都講通話都唔錯㗎，唔好客氣啦，叫我知啊。
冚佢貓 ，Jeff， 正頭邊 Jeff， 未定未買咗自練。I know Watson and stuff. The drink, the step, the horse, the tiger, the bat, the rat, the monkey, the bee.
Wayne, you've impressed me. You're worthy of my daughter.
Every kind of creature is sustained and nourished by the sun. As the spiritual world embraces the physical and fills it out with every different kind of form, so the sun embraces everything in the cosmos, rising up and strengthening all generations. And when they are spent and ebbing away, he receives them back. The choir of spirits, or rather, choirs, are placed under the command of the sun. Choirs because there are many different kinds of powers.
I remember this.
Hello? Can we talk later? This is not a good time for me. Just a moment. I've got a call waiting. Hello? Yes? Can I call you back? I am on the other line. Uh-huh. Yes? He received a Sports Illustrated football phone.
They are set in formation under the stars and are equal in number to them. Thus arrayed, they serve each of the stars. Some of these powers are good and some are evil by nature. That is to say, in their activity. For the essence of a spiritual power is its activity. There are also some who are a mixture of good and evil. If it's universal in that, then I have got a real problem with that, because that surely makes this nothing more than a simulation. But I digress. 14. All spirits have been given authority over affairs upon earth and over turbulences there. They cause a variety of disorders, both publicly in cities and among nations, but also in the life of individuals. For they shape our souls after themselves and arouse them by residing in our sinews, in our marrow, the veins and arteries, and even our brain, penetrating as deep as our very entrails. Through these instruments, God himself creates all this, and all things partake of God. Since this is so, they are God, capital G. Therefore, in creating all things, he creates himself, and he can never cease to create, for he himself or herself.
Having a mental breakdown again. Or I'm living inside a computer-generated reality that has imprisoned me. Again. You need a refill on your prescription?
Yeah. As goddess has no end, so his or her handiwork has neither beginning nor end. So, this is class, folks. So I hope you're here learning as well as having a good time. So I like this because the argument is hard to debate against. One of the chapters in the Gospel of John, chapter 17, is a discourse supposedly from Christ, but again, what's interesting is the subject of the discourse. Because if you read that chapter is saying exactly this. There it is. And again, this is why we know the book is written in a cryptic code. In that chapter, it basically says, Jesus says that you are God. I acknowledge you as God. Because if I'm in you and you are in me and we're in it, then you are God.
People want us up in their gray space, switching their synaptic WTF light on.
And the other thing is that this creator never stops creating. Neither do you and I. Our very thoughts. I think scientists estimate most of us have somewhere, I think about 20,000 thoughts a day, maybe more, some less. We're creating. We're creating vignettes, fanaticism, positive thought, black magic, spells. All of those are thought forms, egregores. So if God is creating all the time, and if you were created by a creator, then you are a creator. Double tense. Both created and creator. The gods do not like it when one of their cattle should be free. Yeah, we're rogues.
Millions of people just living out their lives. Oblivious.
It's so perfect, it's gotta be fake. Right?
Yeah. Sure.
And therefore, little practical consequence. For those on a spiritual path, any spiritual path, being introduced to the concept of the egregores is often a life-changing encounter. Instantly, many old ideas and experiences are made clear, and a field of questions opens up before them. They re-examine their path in a new life and find that regardless of their being part of an organized group or a solo practitioner, large areas of their practice were under the indirect or direct influence or one or more psychic entities of which they were completely unaware.
Tiffany, you have to come with us. Tiffany.
I wish you would fucking stop calling me that. I hate that name. My name is Trinity, and you better take your hands off of me.
Could be argued that recognizing angelics, calling them by their name, the same thing with the divine ones, the daemons, we're giving them energy, powerful. There are shock waves that go out into the etheric realm when we speak those kind of words. And when those words become the rhema, the logos, and when you realize what the logos is doing to you, and when you emulate the logos with vibration, with frequency, you are the creator. You are. That's the strange thing. That's what they've hidden from us. We are the creators. I like how she framed it. Not concerned about the past, nothing I can do about that. I'm not concerned about the future. I can speak right now. These words will impact the future no matter what. If the future is a coalescence of thought, then when it hits me, that energy, what the future is transmuted into my reality. I blend it into my reality. And it's words like that. These beings actually exist. It's how we came into existence. We came into existence by a thought. And what they fail to teach us, but they siphon all of us. They're parasites. They literally extract the unseen essence of our life force. And the hell of a thing about it is, for the most part, we create them individually. There are those egregores, that they've advanced. They're ascending. They've learned to take on human flesh. In fact, this has been going on for so long a time that we no longer can distinguish between who are the true human beings and now who are the offsprings of these other beings, these other thought forms. This is no bullshit, folks. Whether you believe it or not really doesn't matter. In fact, they would rather you not believe this, consider this hyperbole, and just move on. Because as you saw what happened on Monday, just the word alone caused a glitch in the matrix.
Your loading training begins today. It will not be easy.
Which,
You will get tired. You will get blisters. You will get aches and pains. But you will also get good.
And it's a threat because if you know that
Are you ready?
Yes, sir! Road is president of California, sir!
Well, let's begin.
you can just claim them. I mean, and you can actually put them to death. But the thing about it is, for example, how many has a habit? Be honest. How many of you are bound by a habit? Now, you see, I came out of Christendom. That's how I was raised. And in that, we called it temptation. We called it sin. It was someone else's doing. But you're the problem. Now, whether it's temptation, whether it is a possession, an oppression, or a depression, we created it. But we're led to believe that it's something else that's out there. Well, they were right. They just didn't present it in what it really is. They used it to their advantage. And so when you become a little boy, a little girl, it's the boogeyman. It's the tooth fairy. It's a demon. It's an angel. It's Jesus. It's the devil. You see, these are all living egregores. That's all they are. No God has ever presented itself before humanity. Has never physically manifested. It's a fact, and you can't prove me wrong. But the thing is, it's alive. Because you see, that's the interesting thing about humans. We have been deceived in not knowing that we are actually creators. Getting back to that habit is a living thing. It's attached to you. If you could see it, and if we could actually see with real eyes, because real eyes realize real eyes. It would drive us insane. Most of us would literally find a way to exit out very quickly, because when you see what these creatures are, and remember, many of them are basically unfolded, is the term we're going to find out. They're living, and they're feeding off of you. That habit, yeah. That inward battle you have, yeah. And the thing about it is, if you have been primarily, let's say, given to bouts of depression, bouts of negativity, those egregores are powerful. Powerful. In fact, they're the ones that may oftentimes up and leave of their own accord. And then they seek others that have a stronger elixir. Does that make sense? And then they'll feed upon you. It's like getting in a toxic relationship. This is why you need to be very careful about coitus. Because you see, if the partner that you're with has these, and they're bumps, they look like, I have seen them, they look like human feces in many ways. That have the same smell too. But if you have intercourse with someone that is infested with these negative egregores, they'll attach themselves to you very easily. Because in the middle of this exchange of energy, I mean, it's a feeding ground. But we've been deceived in that. And so now we have millennia after millennia after millennia of these life forms. And they advance just like we do. We are, in essence, an egregore ourselves. We are the thought, the result of a thought, the consequence of a thought. Something, we'd like to think it's God, but you see the problem, once you put God to it, you see, that activates these egregores in it's like, you know, it's like they're on crack. Because religion is their feeding ground. It's where they most of them thrive. Why? Because virtually every human being feeds into that. Someone goes, really? Yeah. So when you think about this as to where it plays into our lives, into religion, the fact that we're taught that we're the only life forms on the planet. And then we're taught foolishly that we're all the same on the inside. Well, Wayne, everybody has the same soul. Well, Wayne, everybody has a spirit. No, they don't. You can't prove me wrong on it either.
People need to be entertained. They need the distraction. I wish to God that somebody would do something to block out the voices in my head for 5 minutes. Voices that scream over and over. Why do they come to me to die? Why do they come to me to die?
Okay.